Hi everyone, welcome to SLS1101. I'm your instructor Dan Thomas, and I wanted to carry you through. This will be the first video that I'm giving you after the Start Here content. So this is technically the second video, but it's the first one that's going to be covering the actual class and the information in the class. As you can see over here on the left hand side, and by the way, if you don't have this, look for this little button right here, this little funny looking arrow on the side of your page, and click it open. You'll notice there are 5 modules. This is primarily where you will be working, is right here in these 5 modules. If you have not completed the Start Here assignments, and there's a video associated with that, please look for it on the same YouTube channel, and I also share it with you inside of this inside of Blackboard. Module 1, when you click it, I want to show you something, because if you click it and you get this, it's because you haven't completed the Start Here information, at which point there's a test at the bottom. It's a very quick quiz. I think it's 10 questions. You can take it as many times as you like, but it kind of asks you, it wants to basically make sure that you've gone through the Start Here portion of the class and are understood it. It will not open up any other part of the class. So if you see this, it's because you have not done Start Here. So go back, complete that, and then this will open up. So I'm going to go back, and actually I'm going to switch out of student mode and go into instructor mode. Hang on, it wouldn't let me do that, show you that particular screen in instructor mode. So there are 5 modules, and I'm going to click on module 1. Each module, as you can see, is broken down into study activities and assessments. The study activities are all of the S's, the M1, S1, M1, S2, etc. And you can see a quick preview of the entire module here. The assessments are the assignments that are associated with it, and there are 3. We'll go into that in a minute. What I want to do with this video, when you click on Module 1 Study Activities, I want you to notice that Module 1 is broken down into 3 parts. And because of the nature of the class, and depending on what section or what semester you're taking it, you may be doing these individually, one at a time, or maybe assigning them 2 at a time. But I wanted to just now start creating videos that only covered parts 1 of this particular module. The next video will be part 2, then part 3, etc. It is going to create a total of 15 videos, but they're going to be much shorter than it would be if I did the entire module into one video. This particular module, when we click on part 1, this is a nice introductory module. It talks to you just a little bit about what college is about, and gets you thinking about what we call passion. So the first thing you have to do is you have to read this particular PDF. If it, you know how PDFs work, I hope. If you do not have a reader of some form, a PDF reader, Adobe is free, and there's actually about 10,000 different versions of a PDF reader. And if you're, if you really know what you're doing, you can even open it up inside of Google Docs. So read the instructions. Every great story starts with a beginning. I'm not going to read this whole thing to you, but read this whole thing. But I want you to, as you go through this passion, I want you to be thinking of 2 things. How do you know when it's the best time to start your college experience? And what's the difference between intrinsic and extrinsic motivation? Very important, 2 very important words. Okay, so when you pull this up, you get this particular document. Let's see, how can I make it bigger? Blah blah blah. Well, so there's zoom. Okay, let's zoom in a little bit. We're going to zoom in about 150. Now I'm not going to read this to you, that's your job, but I would like for you to notice that these are fillable pages. This is to help you. Now you may be rolling your eyes going, yeah, I ain't doing that, but I want to remind you that college is not about how quickly can you get it done. College is about learning, and it's a very different experience in high school. In high school, it was, hopefully you did the same thing in high school, but in high school you were able to get away with things because you were required to be there, etc. Now that you're in college, and you may be doing both, but now that you're in college, you have a completely different thinking about the way we handle instruction. This is not going to be handed in. I'm never going to see your answers to this. And so your immediate reaction would be, I'm not going to do this, or I don't have time to do this. I'd very much like for you to consider trying to break out of those 2 mindsets. The reason we constructed this page the way we did was so that you would be able to interact with the information as you go through it. It's not that big. Even if once you read it, once you go through here and you prioritize here, and you continue going down and read this. This should not take you more than 5-10 minutes tops to complete this assignment. But it is this is a reading assignment, but it is designed to get you starting to think about how you feel about college, what you think college is, and please just take the time to answer these, even if they're very short. How long do you plan on anticipate being in college? 4 years. There, done. See how fast I did that? Even if you don't spell years right, like I didn't. I swear, did I really spell that wrong? It's Y-E-A-R-S. Okay. And then just sit through and read this. This is one part of 3 things that you have to do for this for the reading assignments and the study assignments for module 1. It's called The Passion. It takes you about 5 minutes to complete it. It's a piece of cake. Please go through and do it. It does not, nothing on this page, nothing with an S right here gets handed into me. I can't highlight it, but nothing with an S right there gets handed into me. So this is just stuff for you to do. Here is M1A2, the role of college. If you were in my college class, if we were sitting together and we were doing this as live, I would actually take you through this assignment. As it is, we're going to go through it a little bit here, but I really want you to read it, and it's not, hold on, I'm just going to have to make it smaller. Oh, you silly thing. Hang on. No. Hold on. Sorry about that, technical difficulties. So go through this. It is 15 total slides, and there's going to be 2 slides that have some questions on it. What is college for? You know, what do you think college is for? Some people think, yeah, college is a place to get away from my parents and go party, woohoo. Or my favorite, especially where I live, there's a lot of students who graduate high school and they look around and like, what do I do now? And dad says, well, you better go get a job and start finding a place to live. And they're like, but I don't want to get a job. Dad says, well, if you go to college, you can stay here. And they're like, oh, I'll do that. And that's why about half my students start college, is because they don't have anything better to do. How do you think that motivates them? What do you think is their motivation to actually perform in college? They're just trying to avoid getting kicked out of the house, right? What's got you here today? A lot of you guys are dual enrollment students. What's got you here today taking this class? I want you to think about that. I also want you to think about the types of schools. These schools may be public, private, religious, small, large, for-profit, community colleges, junior colleges. You're attending a state college right now by IRSC. We're a public, non-profit school, and that puts us along the same lines as the major universities in the state of Florida, and also all the schools. We are all under the state education system. We are publicly funded. We are not a private school. And on that vein, I want you to be thinking about, you know, public schools versus private schools. That's one way to look at things. Public schools are sometimes very good, and sometimes they're not. There are private schools that are far better than public schools, and then there are private schools that just stink. So you have to really be thinking about, when you decide to go to college, when you decide to pick a college you're going to attend for, you know, a length of time, because a lot of you guys right now are just attending IRSC dual enrollment. But if you intend to complete your instruction at IRSC, then you need to be asking yourself, is this the place to go? What kind of a school am I getting into? What does it cost? That's a lot of things we learn in this class. According to a 2015 UCLA survey, most people currently go to college for one of 7 reasons: to be able to get a better job, to gain a general education and appreciation of ideas, to become a more cultured person, to be able to make more money, to learn more about things that interest me, to get training for a specific career, and to prepare for graduate or professional school. Of course, they didn't add the one that I added, which is I ain't got nothing better to do. So if you're going to school for one of these reasons or several of these reasons, then good for you. Somewhere in here on this page, and I know it's a little hard to see, but somewhere on this page is your motivation. Somewhere on this page is going to be why you're actually attending school, and it's going to be what we call the intrinsic motivation. This is the idea that internally, inside of you somewhere, you are pulling up the need to go to school. Extrinsic motivation would be like, dad told me to, or mom says I have to go to school or get, you know, kicked out of the house. That's extrinsic. That doesn't work very well. It's temporary. Extrinsic motivation doesn't push you very hard, but intrinsic motivation does, and it's the hardest thing to do, is to figure out what kind of motivation is going to get you through all 4 years of college. And this is going to be a very challenging 4 years, or in my case, longer than that. Some people get it done in less time, or however long you intend to go. Maybe it's a 2-year degree you're looking for. Maybe you're looking for a master's degree, maybe even a PhD. But what's going to get you through all of that is somewhere on this page. These are the intrinsic motivational things that will carry you through the difficult times in college. I'm going to go through this a little bit faster. You can read all this. Another thing to think about when you're going to college is the ROI, or the return on investment. How long is it going to take you to make your money back? How much is it going to cost me? How much am I going to make when I get out? And so how long is it going to take for me to pay off basically whatever it cost me to go to college? Well, that's going to depend on lots of things. How much is college costing you? Not all colleges cost the same. You can attend Indian River State College nursing program and get your entire RN degree for around $10,000. I think it's something like that. Or you can go to right across the street and go to Kaiser and get an RN degree. And I don't want to say similar because I have another thought about that. I don't really care for Kaiser, but it's going to cost you $40,000. How long is it going to take you to pay that back? Can you pay it back? You can pay $10,000 back far faster. You can pay back $40,000. So why $40,000? Well, you have to look at Kaiser, for example. Why does it cost so much money to go to Kaiser? Well, they're a private school. Does that mean they're better? Sometimes. Sometimes it means that it is definitely worth the money to go to that school, and sometimes it doesn't. So you have to think about that. What is the return on my investment? It's going to take a lot of money to go to this school. How much money, and how long is it going to take to pay it back? Is that the only thing you're investing? How long you're going to invest yourself in your personal time, and there needs to be some type of return on that, although that's not as tangible because it's not easily measured. But there's things to consider too. The stress of attending college is going to pay a toll, a physical toll in your health, a mental toll in your well-being, a spiritual toll, an emotional toll. Okay, and is it going to be worth it? So, trying to go faster here. Answer this question. Going to go past that. Answer these questions. These are going to help you find your intrinsic motivation and understand a little bit more about what we're expecting you to do in college. This is a personal inventory. Again, no assignments, just something for you to do in your head. Another thing to think about is non-traditional versus traditional students. I'll spend a minute here. A traditional student is a student that graduates high school in the spring of a year, takes the summer off, and then starts a college where they take 4 or 5 classes in the fall. They live on campus. They go to school during the day. They have a scholarship or some type of monies to pay for the schooling, and all they do is they go to college. This is a traditional student. A non-traditional student is somebody who does it differently than that. Do you have a college, do you have a scholarship? Do you have ways to pay for college? No? Well, now you're going to have to get a job, or you have to borrow money. Do you, now that you have that job, are you going to be able to go to school at day, or do you have a day job and you're going to plug away at night? Do you live on, you don't have money, so you probably can't pay for a dorm on campus. You have to live off campus. You might not even be starting the fall after you graduate high school. You may be starting years later. There's so many things that are different. Oh, a non-traditional student is also one that not necessarily seeks a 4-year degree. Maybe they're looking for a 2-year technical certificate, a 2-year degree of some kind in a more technical field, not necessarily an academic field. So what makes a student non-traditional? Most students that we deal with are non-traditional. They're going to school in a different way. If you're a dual enrollment student right now, you're non-traditional. But how do you intend to approach college? Most people today go to college in what we now call a non-traditional format. So here's a whole list. And there's all kinds of things I mentioned and a few things that I didn't mention. So how about some issues that you might face? As a non-traditional student, you're going to need different time management strategies. An ability to juggle everything that's going on in your life, maybe a family. Traditional students are not married, they don't have children, so non-traditionals would be the opposite of that. Maybe you have children, maybe you don't, maybe you're married, maybe you're not, maybe you have a relationship, maybe you're not. There's a difficulty in navigating confusing institutional environments because you're not necessarily immersed in the environment. You are instead kind of like I was a non-traditional all the way through. I never was a traditional student, so I lived in Okeechobee, and I drove to UCF to go to school. And I didn't stick around. I got there, took my classes, and left. So I didn't immerse myself in the environment. And there were times where I had no idea what was going on, especially when I had to get some student aid, some financial aid. And the same thing with the culture of college, for the same reason. You're just not living on campus. You're not going to campus events necessarily. You're going to the school, taking your classes, and getting out. Non-traditionals typically have that concern. There are transitional services that are designed for traditional four-year students. They're not designed for the non-traditionals, so as a result, the non-traditionals don't know how to take advantage of them. Same thing with the knowledge support systems. They're there, the library, and other libraries. The first one off the top of my head, but there's always little bitty things like that, even in each individual college, that helps you. Tutors available, things like that help you, but you're, again, maybe not necessarily aware of them or have easy access to them because you don't live on campus. There's all kinds of personal barriers, and yes, traditional students have personal barriers as well, but non-traditionals tend to have more, and those would go back to the things like we talked about, like having children, having a job, having a mortgage payment, having an ex-wife or an ex-husband, who knows. Unpredictable influences on their schedules, such as your boss asks you to stay late, or you have to work weekends or something. A lot of students, non-traditionals, tend to take a work first, study second priority, which is not good. It should be, the most important thing, we'll get to this later, but the most important thing you should be doing is studying for school. Work is just there to sustain you, so it is not the most important thing, but typically people put their job first, and then only study when they get a chance. And non-traditionals do that a lot, and it needs to be flipped. And yes, I did it too, but it caused me to not perform as well. Yep, I did a great job for my employer, and I can't even remember that guy's name now, but college was something I should have been focused on. Again, paying for college. Traditional students usually have scholarships. They usually have other sources of income that do not require for them to work, whereas non-traditionals are usually having to pay for it to some degree on their own, and it's rather difficult. And then, of course, this may or may not be you, but a lot of non-traditionals are non-traditional students because their high school performance was mediocre, or their high school didn't prepare them very well for college, and they're underprepared. So these are all things that face non-traditional students, and there's more. We cover all this because, like I said, IRSC focuses mostly on non-traditionals, and also that's the bulk of a student these days are non-traditional students. In fact, we should almost call these traditionals, and the ones who do it the other way, we should call them non-traditional because it's rare. Out of 18 million undergraduates, 7.5 million are two-year students. 2.4 million are part-time students. 900,000 are, it says remaining for-profit students. I don't even know what that means, but it's a very small slice. But 2.2 million are over the age of 21. And then look at the size of this. Only 5.2 million students are traditional students. The rest of these are non-traditional in some format, is basically the point behind this graphic. And like I said, we get way more non-traditionals than traditionals. It's like 60, almost 75% of the students these days are non-traditional. And that includes you guys right now if you are in dual enrollment, or if you're taking part-time classes. You're non-traditional, so you're in good company. There's a lot of non-traditional students, and you're also at the right school because that's what IRSC is good at. I'm going to let you read this, the difference between a certificate, associate, and bachelor's degree. It's usually a couple of things. Mostly it's time, but it's also the types of classes you take. Some programs are designed to get you in, get you trained, and get you out. We don't teach you the core academic classes, the humanities classes. You don't necessarily take those. And that's good because it can get you right into the workforce at a higher rate of speed, but it does not get you ready for a four-year degree. So you need to be careful when you're thinking about your degree, because if you want to just get in, get a degree, get out, and get to work, which IRSC has tons of those kinds of programs, then you're seeking a certain type of a degree. But if you want to continue on to college, then you have to have peppered in there are some academic classes that don't seem, people say all the time, I'm going to be a nurse. Why do I have to take all this math? Well, you may not. But if you ever wanted to go further to get your bachelor's degree in nursing or get a master's degree in nursing, then you'll need all that. So it's a decision you have to make soon. Do you want to further your degree one day? And there's a lot of gray areas there. It's not like you can't go on, but you're going to have to take more classes later. You'll see. The main difference between certificates is, and all these things, is laid out here. I'll let you read through that. And then finally, IRSC offers a variety, and there's something for you to read about. We offer all forms of AA, AS degrees. We have all types of certificates. About 10 years ago, we started doing bachelor's degrees. There are so many four-year degrees at IRSC that you won't even have to leave the Treasure Coast, which, trust me, in the long run, is, if you plan on sticking around here, is going to save you tons of time and money. It's better to, maybe not live at home. You can live at home if you want. I hope my daughter does. But you can maybe live close by, still come home for supper every once in a while, still bring your laundry over and say, hey mom, can you do my laundry for me, that sort of thing. It just makes life a whole lot easier. The students who pack up and leave and go to some other part of the United States, I've observed two kinds. There are those that got a scholarship to go to a certain school, and if you get that, go, because that is definitely worth it, especially on things like athletic scholarships. But I also hear students, and this has disturbed me, man, I got to get out of this town. You know what? That town you're going to is just like the town you're in, except that you don't know anyone there and you don't have any support system there. Here you have a support system, maybe, and that really makes it worthwhile to stick around. So if you feel like perhaps IRSC, being your local state college, could meet your needs, I guarantee you, you will not find a better education in the country than here at this school. And I've got data to back that up, by the way. All right, the last part that you need to do for part 1 of module 1 is the student calendar, and I'm going to take you out and show you that. But before you get there, there's a video from this guy. I don't know, this guy, I kind of like this guy. I think he thinks he's a little bit prettier than he actually is, but he's definitely a smart person to pay attention to. We use several of his videos. I've even subscribed to his channel because I think he makes a lot of sense. I'm not going to play it right now. It's only 8 minutes long, but I'm not going to play it. I'm going to let you play it. But listen to this guy. He actually talks pretty well. I'm a little harsh on him sometimes. So that's M1S3, and then finally we're going to jump out here and go do M1A1, and I'll show you how you do that. You're going to go back to the breadcrumbs up top, click Module 1 Study Activities. Now you're going to go down here to Part 1 again, and nope, I did that backwards. Hold on. We're actually going to go out here to Module 1 Introduction to College. See, I need to learn how to run my class. And then we're going to go down here to Module 1 Assessments. When you get into Module 1 Assessments, you're going to see, you should see 3 assignments. You should see M1A1, M1A2, and M1A3. Okay, these correspond to parts 1, parts 2, and parts 3. In part 1 of module 1, this is the assignment. This is all there is to it. Okay, when we do part 2 of module 1, this is the assignment, and part 3 is always a quiz. Okay, so let's take a quick look at M1A1 planning for a semester. And when you read through this, it's going to tell you the importance of creating a calendar. And I really want you to think about the importance of creating a calendar. This class might only be one class you have right now in college, but I guarantee you, well, I don't guarantee you, but there's a really good chance you're taking several classes. You've already gone through the syllabus and the schedule of activities for this class. Did you write those down somewhere? Or are you just trusting that your steel trap mind is going to keep track of all that for you? Well, what about your other classes or your other events going on in your life? One key to success, and I'm telling you guys, I had to learn this the hard way myself, but one key to success is for you to start creating a calendar and maintaining that calendar and referring to that calendar. Now we're going to practice this using a pretty simple thing, and this is a Google Drive version, and the Microsoft Word version was in here. I don't know where it went. I'll try to get it put back in there shortly. But the Google Docs version, if you open this up, everybody should be able to do it. By the way, you do not have to ask me for access. A lot of you guys have been asking me for access. What you do here, if you're not familiar with Google Drive, is that you go over here and it will say, hang on, I can't get to it because there's a control button in the way, but over here it'll say File. You click File and you go down here to make a copy. And when you go down here to make a copy, then you have your own version and you can write on it and do what you want. I do not give you permission to write on this because everybody's accessing it, and if you wrote on it, then the next guy would go, what's all this written here? So you go over there and make a copy, then you write on it, then you submit this. And as you go through here, just start reading some things. List 2 knowledge or skill areas you're interested in to develop this course. Answer this. It takes you, just type in fairly quickly, think about it. This is going to be your longest assignment for this particular module, but again, won't take you that long if you sit down and do it, probably less than half an hour. Okay, answer all these questions, then come down here to this part 3 that says semester calendar. When you see all this blank, don't skip it, because there it is. Okay, and at the very least, what I'd like for you to do is go through here, and I'd like for you to populate. I'm doing this video on October 17th. I'd like for you to populate the date that things are due, okay, for at least this class. And you can go back to the instructions, the schedule of activities to find out. And this is a very short semester for the current class, so as you can see, I only have 3 months. If you're listening to this at some other time, then you may have a different time span. IRSC is awesome because we have all kinds of different courses and lengths of courses. Currently, I'm making this video for my Fall B course in 2020. You may be taking it for full term at some point, and you're going to have a different looking calendar, but what I need you to do is populate it for at least this class. Now what I'd like for you to do is go ahead and use, add in a bunch of things. Do you have a wedding to attend on the 14th? I know I have my daughter has a rodeo to go to right here on the 14th, so I would put that in. On the 21st, I'm leaving to go on a quick vacation up to South Carolina. On the 11th, things are due for this class. The final, one really important thing is grades are due. I think it's somewhere right through here, I can't remember. When is the last day to hand in any assignments? This is it. This is the last day of school. Mr. Thomas won't take it past there. You need to add that to your calendar. These are the kind of things that you should be writing on your calendars. When you get this totally finished, you can save it as a PDF. That's very simple. You go to File. I'm sorry I can't bring it up, but you go to File, Download, and it'll download it as a PDF. And then you submit the PDF actually right by clicking here. You click there, and then right down here is a place to submit the PDF. It's very simple. Just click Browse My Computer. It's like attaching a file to an email or something, and you can add comments if you like, and then I'll grade it and I try to make a nice comment for you. If you do a great job, you'll get a 25 out of 25 points. If there's something wrong, I will send it back to you and give you the opportunity to fix it, and then hopefully you'll fix it and send it back to me and you get a 25 out of 25. My goal is for you to get 25 points on every assignment. I don't mind if it's a touch late, and I don't mind you redoing it. Like I said, I would love it if everybody in this class got 100% A, and it's doable. Okay, this video ran for 29 minutes. It's actually going to be 30 by the time I'm done. The next videos, I'm going to make Module 1 Part 2 video here in just a second, and it is going to be much shorter. Okay, but if these are helpful to you, you're welcome to use them. If you want to muddle through your own, I will help you that as well. Please make sure that you are sending me an email, or better yet, sending me a text. A lot of you guys we've already connected with each other on text. Send me emails, send me texts. You even have a phone number for me somewhere in here, and let me help you out. Alright, sorry it took so long. The next one's hopefully will only be about 15 minutes. Good luck, get to work.